rankings. Yesterday we did our top 20 running backs, and now we're doing all 32 quarterback rankings. I'm joined today with my friend Cole once again.
Hello. Alright, quarterbacks.
Got 1 through 32. Would you like to start off?
Number 32? I would love to start off.
Alright.
In my opinion, the worst quarterback in the NFL on my list is Dwayne Haskins.
I also have Dwayne Haskins, my number 32.
Alright, I'm glad, because I would love to see who you think is worse.
He only did start 7 games, to his credit.
He started 7 games, but I mean...
A touchdown a game, but also a pick a game.
If you look at the game, if you look at the stats, he averages 8.5 fantasy points a game.
Yeah.
That's
not
terrible
great
for a quarterback. That's terrible for a quarterback. His best week was week 11 against the Jets, where he went 214 yards passing, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception, and he still only scored 17 fantasy points. I mean,
yeah,
that's not great. And then in the last week against the Giants, I mean, he passed for 133 yards, 2 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. He scored 13 fantasy points, but that's not great.
He doesn't have many targets also, that doesn't help.
Doesn't have
He
many
really
targets.
only got Terry McLaurin. That's about it. They feel like the Redskins, I mean, they obviously drafted Chase Young, good pick, but I feel like second round they should have tried to get a receiver to help out Dwayne.
Yeah, they should have.
Being
Dwayne
a young
Haskins, last year in the 7 games that he started, I mean, he had just over 1,300 passing yards. For a quarterback, that's terrible. I mean, he only had 203 attempts, but he had 7 interceptions on 7 touchdowns, so he went 7-7. That's
not great. He also did
like
play
Jameis Winston, except for Jameis Winston was 30-30.
He also did play part of 2 games, which does not really help his case, I guess.
Yeah, he played part of 2 games. One was week 8 against Minnesota. He ended up just throwing a pick in 5 attempts, and he had negative fantasy points that week. So
he's a no draft. No draft in fantasy leagues.
Do not draft Dwayne Haskins. Oh my gosh, that is terrible.
All right, number 31. I have Tua.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm. I have Tua. He's a rookie.
Wow.
Doesn't have very many targets besides Devontae Parker. I feel like they're gonna try. Jordan Howard's gonna have a better year. I feel like they're gonna try to get pressure off him, not pass the ball as much.
Okay.
They're gonna have to score a lot of points though, which could help because they're gonna have to pass because they're down. But I just don't think he's got put in a good situation to do good in the season.
Interesting. Has my 31 at the 31 spot, I have Mitchell Trubisky.
Alright.
I mean, he got hurt last year for a couple games.
Yes.
In the games that he did play, he averaged 13.5 fantasy points a game. That's not even that much better than Dwayne Haskins. I mean, you're looking up here at the log. He had a couple decent weeks. Week 14 against Dallas Cowboys. I mean, he did good. He had a rushing touchdown. He had 3 passing touchdowns. He scored 32 fantasy points. But he also had weeks like Week 8 against the Chargers, where he only scored 7 fantasy points. Week 9 against the Eagles, he only scored 6 fantasy points. Week 2 against the Broncos, he only scored 5 fantasy points. He got hurt against the Vikings, scored 0.4 fantasy points. I mean, he gets hurt. The guys around him are terrible. Like, he doesn't have any wide receivers to throw to. I mean, he has Allen Robinson, but
yeah.
He's competing with Nick Foles this year. I would highly doubt if he's the Bears starter by week 8. Halfway through the year, I think Nick Foles is going to take him.
They get Jimmy Graham, could help him out a little bit.
They get Jimmy Graham, but his fantasy points are terrible. Last year, he had 17 touchdowns on 10 interceptions. It's not great for him.
Not great.
Don't draft him on your fantasy team. He's probably not even going to start half the year. That's why I have him at 31.
Never know, Nick Foles could do what he did that one year.
No,
but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Who do you have at number 30, Brad?
I have Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
So you had some good points. I think skip past him. Don't draft him. He's not a good quarterback. Allen Robinson, he's a good receiver, but when you have that quarterback throwing to him, you can't be too great.
You just, no.
Who do you have as your number 30?
Number 30, I have Tyrod Taylor sitting there at number 30.
Right.
I don't trust Tyrod Taylor. I mean, at his last year with Buffalo, he averaged 14.8 fantasy points. Every single year he's played, he hasn't had a year where he's averaged over 20 fantasy points a game. And I think he's going to continue that streak this year, actually. I mean, he went to the Browns in 2018. He didn't do very much. He averaged 10.4 fantasy points. I mean, I think Austin Eckler is going to be carrying the Chargers offense, as I said last video, but Tyrod Taylor, I don't have much trust in him. He hasn't had a good career fantasy-wise, and I don't think he's going to have a good season this year fantasy-wise.
Alright. My number 29 spot, I have Derek Carr. I feel like he's got a good team around him, but he's not the greatest quarterback. I feel like Marcus Mariota could have a chance to get in front of him also as part of the year. I feel like he's not the greatest quarterback. Stats have been improving, but he threw for 4,000 yards. That's pretty good.
He's not.
He averaged a pick a game though, so that's not good.
Yeah. Well, I don't have much trust in Derek Carr either. He's a little higher on my list, but I mean, the Raiders, I think they're going to be heavily relying on Josh Jacobs this year.
Yes. I feel like he probably could end up a top 10 running back.
For sure. At my number 29 spot, I have Daniel Jones.
Alright.
The Giants, I mean, Daniel Jones last year, he averaged 16.5 fantasy points a game. He had 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. So that's decent. His highest fantasy week was actually week 3, where he scored 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, scored 34 fantasy points. I mean, but he's on the Giants. I feel like Saquon's healthy this year. They're going to give Saquon the ball a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, his wide receivers aren't the best. I mean, they're the Giants. They don't have a defense. I feel like, I don't know. I don't think the Giants are going to do well. I don't think the Giants are going to do well, and I don't think Daniel Jones is going to do very well either. So
I have Daniel Jones probably too high on my list.
I'm looking at the sheet here. I mean, he did have some good weeks. Week 16, he scored 35 points. Week 10, he scored 30 points. But he only had 3 30-plus weeks, and also he had weeks like week 6 where he scored 5.
Only 3 30-plus weeks. Like a lot of people get 30-plus weeks.
a lot of people on my list have a lot of 30-plus weeks. Week 13, he only scored 8 points. I mean, he had 2 games this year where he threw 3 interceptions in that game. I don't know.
His stat line, what was his touchdowns picks, you said?
He's 24-12.
That's pretty good.
That is not bad, but
that's like around yeah, that's fair.
So I don't know. I don't feel like he's gonna do very well in fantasy this year. I have him at 29.
Alright. My number 28, I have Gardner Minshew. Feel like he had a disappointing year last year. Nick Foles kind of took over, hoping he would do a little better. But now Nick Foles gone, doesn't have many targets. DJ Chark's about it. You saying he's gonna pop off? I feel like they're gonna have to focus on Leonard Fournette. I feel like he's gonna have a breakout year from what he was. He threw for 21 touchdowns, but he also threw for 1.5 picks a game. Average. Threw for 3,000 yards. Nothing crazy. He only did play for 14 games though, which I guess helps. I just don't think he's gonna have a great year. They don't have a good O-line. He's gonna get sacked a bunch. Jags just feel like they have a chance to go 0-16 this year, honestly.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. They're not going 0-16. Their offense is too good for them to go 0-16. Well, at my number 28 spot, I have Tua. Tagovailoa, and I just don't feel like a rookie coming into the Miami team this year. He has Devontae Parker. He has Mike Gesicki, one of my favorite tight ends in the league.
He's a sleeper.
But I mean, he's might not start all 16 games because of Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not feel safe having him on my fantasy team this year. He's not on a good team. He's going to be splitting games with Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's not going to put up the fantasy numbers that people could get from other guys.
So like really anywhere from like 20 to 32, you really don't want to have them.
you don't all these guys you don't want to pick
don't want
them.
to have them.
They're bad.
There's so much QB talent this year. You don't need to take these guys.
Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
My number 27, I have Tyrod Taylor. I feel like he's going to, he could do a lot better than where I'm putting him. He has so many good receivers. He's got Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Tyrell Williams. He's got a lot of wide receivers.
He has a lot of talent around him, but does he have talent? That's the question.
That's going to be the good question. I feel like Bills, he really didn't do terrible. He didn't start. Wait, hold on.
I mean,
he didn't start any games last year, but he played in 8 apparently. He didn't throw a pick. He threw a touchdown, only 33 passing yards though, but he didn't start in any. I feel like he only probably had like 1 or 2 drives.
I feel like if you really want to take Tyrod Taylor and put him on your bench to see how he does,
it wouldn't be terrible. Wouldn't be terrible.
But don't take him until like the last round of the draft.
Yeah.
Because who knows? I mean, he does have good receivers around him, so.
He only threw a pass in 2 games. He was 1 for 1 in Miami with 7 yards. And then he was 3 for 5 in week 14 against Jacksonville. He threw for 26 yards, touchdown.
Yeah. And my
but Justin Herbert could come back and get started in parts of the year. I feel like he probably will.
I'm 27. I got Sam Darnold at 27. Sam Darnold, I feel like he's improving a lot this year, but we're talking about fantasy here, and he's never put up fantasy points. In 2018, his rookie year, he put up 13 fantasy points a game. And last year, he put up 14.6 fantasy points a game. It's not very good.
I have Sam Darnold at my number 26, so I'll go with you here. Yeah.
Number 26, yeah.
I feel like they're gonna have to focus on Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, and
decent bit.
I feel like Sam Darnold's a decent quarterback. But he has nobody around him. I mean, who's he gonna throw to? They lost Robbie Anderson.
No one.
His highest fantasy point week was 28. He didn't even reach 30. He didn't reach a 30-point game. He had negative 6.7 fantasy points in week 7 against the Patriots. He went 11 for 32 with 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
Well, you can't trust him.
Threw for average of 23rd worst picks a game.
Yeah. I mean, 14.6 fantasy points a game. I think he's going to continue on with that trend. I would not expect him to get into the 20s every week. He's not a good quarterback to have on your team. You should wait till the Jets trade for some receivers. Then draft him. But
then he'd probably do better.
I mean, their defense is now nothing. The Jets are nothing.
Yeah. Alright.
That?
You can take your number 25.
My
or 26.
number 26 is... I have Derek Carr at number 26. You had Derek Carr a little lower on your list.
A little lower.
Right?
Yep. Number 29.
For the fact, because, like, I agree. He's not going to have a good year. His fantasy points a game he's never had 20 plus fantasy points a game in his career. And last year he had his highest number at 15.3 fantasy points a game. That's not good at all. He threw for 21 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. And his highest fantasy point was 21. That was his highest fantasy number.
That is not great at all.
That is not good. He doesn't have very many wide receivers to back him up. He has Darren Waller, but Darren Waller isn't gonna give him that many fantasy points. I feel like Darren Waller is gonna get a lot of fantasy points though, so that'll be a different video. But I mean, they're gonna rely on Josh Jacobs a lot this year, and Derek Carr. I mean, he's just gonna have another kind of year. He's gonna put up probably 15 fantasy points a game, and that's not very good. There's better guys out there. There's a lot better guys out there. Who do you have 25. 26.
My 25 is Teddy Bridgewater. I feel like he's got put on a pretty alright receiver team. He's got Curtis Samuel, DJ Moore. I feel like they're gonna have pretty good years. But the Panthers, they have to rely on Christian McCaffrey to carry them through these games. I feel like Teddy Bridgewater, he's not a terrible quarterback.
Wait, where do you get Teddy Bridgewater at?
25.
Ooh, that's rough.
Yeah, I might have been a little rough on him.
Teddy Bridgewater.
He did pretty good on the Saints when he played.
On the Saints. He played 5 games. He dominated in 5 games. Okay, he proved himself against some tough opponents. And then
but he also had better players around him.
Yeah, I mean,
the second best O-line in the league.
I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to have a good year. A lot of what Christian McCaffrey does is he catches passes out of the backfield and takes them for big yards. I think that's where a lot of Teddy's fantasy points are going to come from, is Christian McCaffrey's catches. I mean, he has DJ Moore, who's on pace to have a great year.
Yeah.
He has Curtis Samuel. I mean, he has decent people around him. His defense isn't great, but I think Teddy...
O-line, I think, is just a big problem. He used to have all the time in the world behind the great O-line.
We'll see.
Now, we'll see.
I think Teddy's gonna have a better year than number 25.
Who's your number 25?
Number 25. That's where I got Gardner Minshew.
You have faith in him.
I do. I mean, the offense. Last year he scored 16.4 fantasy points a game. And I mean, he had his highest fantasy points was 25. He never got below never mind, he got below 5 fantasy points in week 6 against the Saints, but I feel like this year, I mean, he's past his rookie year. He's coming in. He's got Leonard Fournette. I feel like who's a good running back he could hand it off to. He's got D.D. Westbrook and DJ Chark. DJ Chark, I think, is going to have a breakout year this year. And I think Gardner Minshew is going to be a big part of that.
I think last year was his breakout year.
I feel like the O-line is going to give him absolutely 0 time. But I feel like if he gets the ball off in time, he's going to throw for some touchdowns. Last year he had 21 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions. I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I feel like he's gonna improve this year. I feel like he's gonna have I don't feel like he's gonna have like an insane fantasy year because I have him at 25 on my list. But I feel like he's gonna do decent at least.
All right.
Down to 24.
24. I have Jimmy Garoppolo.
I also have Jimmy Garoppolo at 24.
I feel like 49ers are a running team. They were a running team last year, and that's what brought them to the conference championship.
Sir. What brought them to the Super Bowl? But...
Super Bowl. My bad. Okay. And then they lose Emmanuel Sanders.
Fantasy points a game.
Lose Emmanuel Sanders. He threw almost 2 picks a game. He did
throw 27 touchdowns though.
Yep.
That was pretty 27 touchdowns, but 13 interceptions.
Yep.
I mean, his highest fantasy point week was 28, but I mean, his numbers were 10, 9, 14, 12, 6, 13. That's not good fantasy points for quarterback. I feel like he's on a good team. I feel like the 49ers are going to do well, but in fantasy-wise, I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is your guy.
Running though, they lost Matt Breida. That's gonna be better for Mostert.
Yep. I mean, he was ranked 15 for fantasy points last year, and we have him at 24. But yeah. I feel like they're gonna
lost Emmanuel Sanders. Only have like Debo.
They did. Yep.
That's about it. George Kittle.
He averaged almost 2 interceptions. He averaged almost 2 interceptions a game.
Yep.
His deep ball percentage, though, was first in the league at 55.6.
That's pretty good.
He can throw the ball deep, so he has the ability to make big plays, but not a lot.
Debo could be good.
Debo is gonna have a decent year.
Yeah.
Let's move over to 23.
Who you got?
I got Philip Rivers.
Okay.
I got Philip Rivers at 23. For the reason that I don't have much trust in Philip Rivers. He was with the Chargers last year. You can't really give him better wide receivers. He had Keenan Allen. Yeah. He had Mike Williams. I mean, he had Hunter Henry. He's been in the league since 2004. He's getting old. Okay, he averaged 14.7 fantasy points last year. He threw for 23 touchdowns and 20 interceptions. He threw for 20 interceptions and only 23 touchdowns.
That's terrible.
Like, yeah, he didn't reach 25 fantasy points at all last year. He was in the 10s, 11s, 12s most of the year. He's coming into a Colts offense where their running back, I mean, they got Marlon Mack, they got Jonathan Taylor. They're going to be splitting.
Yep. Even Nyheim Hines might be good.
They have Eric Ebron. Probably get some catches.
T.Y.
I mean, T.Y. slowing down. I don't have trust in T.Y. T.Y. hasn't had a good year.
Zach Pascal, maybe.
Maybe. And all of the possibilities. But Philip Rivers, I wouldn't draft him on your fantasy team. I have him at 23 because, I mean, all of his career, he hasn't put up a 20-plus fantasy points a game numbers. So, I don't think he's going to have a good year.
My number 23, you're going to not agree with me on this at all. I have Drew Lock.
What?
I feel like everyone's hyping up the Broncos' offense way too much, I think. Drew Lock, he's still young. Got young receivers. I don't think he's...
great receivers.
Cortland Sutton's way overrated right now, I think.
Cortland Sutton. KJ Hamler. One of the fastest rookies in the NFL. He's got Jerry Jeudy.
I think
they got Noah Fant.
He's going to take a year or two.
Gordon and Philip Lindsay.
I think he's gonna have to take a year to just fit in with all these new guys, young guys. But then I think in a year or two they're gonna be amazing.
That's a garbage pick. That's an absolute garbage pick.
Garbage pick.
Drew Lock at number 23.
Yep.
Are you serious?
Yes, I am.
Who do you have at 22?
Hold on. Last year, he only played 5 games, and he threw for a pick a game.
Yeah, he's a rookie.
Yeah, he's young. He's still going to have to work in.
He didn't have anybody on his team last year.
He's still a Cortland Sutton.
Wow, you had one good player.
Still Noah Fant.
Yeah, Noah Fant was a rookie.
I think
guys are now
too many young guys. I don't think it's going to work out.
Okay. Who's your number 22 player?
Number 22 player, I have Philip Rivers. You explained it well.
Okay. You think Philip Rivers is going to have a better year?
Yes, I think he's going to have a good year this year. Not great, obviously.
On the 22.
Yes.
You think he's going to have a good year on the Colts?
Eric Ebron, T.Y. Hilton, Zach Pascal. I think that's good enough for him to do good. If we see
Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler.
I think it's gonna matter what Philip Rivers we get this year. If we get old Philip Rivers, he's gonna do good. If we get the new Philip Rivers,
Philip Rivers every year. He's been yes. Look at his fantasy. Go through every single year of his career. He doesn't average more than 20 fantasy points a game in any of his careers.
20 fantasy points is a lot of fantasy points.
It's not for a quarterback.
Yes, it is.
Bro, if he's been playing since 2004, he should have a year where he gets more than 20 fantasy points a game.
I agree with that. I think he's gonna do good on his new offense.
When you're talking about
I think he's gonna do good.
The new Phillip Rivers or the old Phillip Rivers, it's been the same Phillip Rivers every year. Decent, like not very great.
And 22 is a good spot for an year.
No.
Yes.
He's not gonna have an year. He's gonna have a bad year.
22 is bad.
When he had the Chargers offense.
22 is bad.
When he had Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry, and Mike Williams.
He didn't have all those guys for all those years.
Yeah,
he had him for the past like 4 years.
4 years. That's a pretty long time. Now he's going on to the Colts where he has nobody.
T.Y. Hilton. I feel like they're going to be a good combo. Zach Pascal.
Yeah, Zach Pascal. Yes, exactly.
Eric Ebron.
Yeah, he's gonna. Yeah, they're gonna go win the Super Bowl.
Those are better. I'm not saying he's gonna win the Super Bowl. I have him at 22 for a reason. I don't have him at number 5.
Like, why do you have? Oh my gosh, I'm just. You think he's gonna have a better year on the Colts than Drew Lock is on the Broncos?
Yes, I do.
That is the most insane thing I've ever heard you say.
Well, let's see what happens during the season. All right.
Okay. Yeah, let's see.
All right.
I'm gonna watch Phillip Rivers tank. Absolutely tank.
I don't think he was 18th in fantasy points last year. He threw for the 4th most passing yards in the season.
Wow. And yet his fantasy points didn't show it.
He had the 15th most passing touchdowns. I should be putting him higher, if anything.
What? Are you serious?
Yes.
He's on the Colts this year. He doesn't have the same weapons as he did on the Chargers.
I think he's going to have a good season. You think he's not?
He's going to have a worse year than last year. He's going to have a worse year than last year.
Let's see what happens, alright?
He's on the Colts.
Let's see what happens.
I'm just mad that you put him in front of Drew Lock.
I know you are.
Oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. I'm a Broncos fan too. Like, the Broncos are my second favorite team in the NFL.
That you're being biased then.
No. Everybody thinks that they're gonna have a good year.
Yeah, that's why I said they're being overrated. They're too young. They're too young.
They're actually going to have a good year.
They're too young for them to have a good year.
They're talented though.
I don't think they're gonna have a good year.
They have the speed. They have Cortland Sutton. They have the running backs.
Wow, they have speed. That's so great. How did it work out for John Ross? Not good. He's the speed guy.
John Ross is on the Bengals.
Yeah, and they have good weapons. Tyler Boyd, John Ross, AJ Green.
AJ Green hasn't played for the past 2 years.
Well, he's gonna this year.
Oh yeah, and he's gonna do garbage.
No.
Yes.
He's going to be a top 20 receiver.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Dude, the Broncos. They have KJ Hamler. They have Jerry Jeudy.
Who is that?
KJ Hamler?
He's not that great. He's fast.
Super fast.
And that's all John Ross was. That's all John Ross was. And how did that turn out for him?
Cortland Sutton.
They're all too young to fit together.
Cortland, oh my gosh. Okay.
Let's just move on, alright?
Okay.
Who do you got your number 22 or 21?
You think the Broncos are going to have a bad year?
I do.
Because they're all young. Wow.
They're too young to have a good year.
Patrick Mahomes is young. He's going to do garbo.
But all those receivers weren't.
What?
Not everyone on their team was young. Phil Lindsay, pretty young.
They this year. They have McCole Hardman. All those guys are young. The only old guy on their team is Travis Kelce. They have some old guys on D, but their offense is basically young.
Alright, let's see what happens during the season when the Broncos win the division against the Chiefs.
They're not going to win the division, they're going to make the wild card.
Let's see that happen. I'll be waiting.
I'll watch you win the wild card. At number 22, I have Joe Burrow at 22. You can't put him higher. I mean, he's Joe Burrow.
I have him at 21.
I mean, he did good in college. I think he's gonna do decent.
He's got good weapons.
He's got decent weapons. He has Tyler Boyd, AJ Green. He has Joe Mixon to hand the ball off to. I don't think they're gonna put too much pressure on him. I don't think he's gonna get that much time because of the O-line.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like he's gonna get sacked a lot.
The
Bengals D is one of the worst in the NFL.
I think the offense is good. They just need to work on defense.
I have him at 22. I feel like that's a fair spot to put him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the Bengals are gonna make the wild card.
Okay. If they had a better defense, they would actually be contenders.
They would be not bad.
But they don't. Their defense is garbage.
Well, same with the Broncos.
Broncos defense is good, bro.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Alright.
It is.
Von Miller.
Von Miller. Shelby Harris. Justin Simmons.
Justin Simmons good, not Shelby Harris.
What? Oh my gosh. Bro, they have Bradley Chubb.
Yeah, he's good. He's average. He's not
players.
Great.
Oh my. Okay. Okay. The Broncos defense is good.
Well, the Bengals have Carlos Dunlap, Sam Hubbard, Geno Atkins, Von Bell.
They have a dinosaur.
Mike Hughes.
They have a guy that likes to kill people.
No, they don't have Vontaze Burfict anymore. He wasn't on them last year.
Carlos Dunlap, like, dude, does that too.
No, that's mainly Vontaze's job.
Geno is the dinosaur. Like,
so is Von Miller.
Yeah, but Von Miller actually won a Super Bowl. Not only did he win a Super Bowl, he got Super Bowl MVP. Von Miller isn't even that old.
How old is he?
I don't know, search it up. I bet you he's younger than Geno Atkins.
Oh, no duh. Why has Geno Atkins made a Pro Bowl every season of his career? Because he's bad?
Because he's like the best player on their team. Which is sad if your defensive tackle is the best player on your team. How old is Von
look
Miller?
at Danielle Hunter. He was the best player on their team. And that's sad if they're your best player on your team.
It's not running anymore.
Von Miller is 30. How old is Geno Atkins?
He's like 32 or 33.
Everybody decent in here?
Mm-hmm. Gone Atkins, what age? Oh, he's 72. Geno Atkins' age. He's 34 years old.
And he's still
Just
making
kidding.
Pro Bowls.
He's not gonna make the Pro Bowl this year.
Why not? What's changing? He's getting older, yeah. He's still great.
I'll bet you $5 he's not gonna make the Pro Bowl. Carlos Dunlap's 31. Sam Hubbard.
Sam Hubbard's good. He's gonna be good. He's young. He's a good young boy.
Yeah, same with Bradley Chubb, Justin Simmons, whatever. Anyway,
I never said they were bad. I said they were good.
we're at number 21.
Who you got?
I got Baker Mayfield as 21.
Alright.
Mainly, like you can't give Baker Mayfield any more weapons than he has. He should be able to make it to he should be able to have a winning record with Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, David Njoku. I mean, he averaged 14.3 fantasy points last year with all those weapons. He went 22 touchdowns and 21 interceptions. He throws picks. His highest fantasy game was 23 points. In week 5 against the 49ers, he had -2 points.
It's because the 49ers. But yeah.
His team is insane. He has Austin Hooper now. Oh my gosh. His offensive line is good this year. I feel like he has the weapons to do good in fantasy, but I just feel like he's not a great quarterback. He should be able to.
I think he's gonna put it together this year. I put him a little higher on my list.
He has the weapons to, but like he also had the weapons to the last 2 years, and he didn't. So we'll have to see. Who do you got as number 21?
21 was Burrow. I was going with you. So number 20, I have Daniel Jones. Like I said I had him a little higher. I think he's gonna have a good year this season.
I mean,
he's got Golden Tate, Darius Slayton, Evan Ingram, Saquon Barkley is gonna help him out a bunch. I think he's gonna have a pretty good season. I would put him on your drafting for your bench if you put him late. or pick him up during the season. I don't think he's gonna get drafted too much. Last year, he was number 24 in fantasy points. Threw for 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns. But he also did average 2 picks a game, which I feel like is gonna go down this year.
Okay.
Going to his second year, rookie year. Most people throw picks in the rookie year. It's just what happens.
Yeah.
And he still had a not terrible year for his rookie year. Number 24 in points.
I mean, I had him at 29, but...
And he only started 13 games.
24 in points isn't too great, Brad.
Well, that's why I didn't put him in top 20. Oh, I did, but on 20. I put him 20.
I was gonna say, Brad?
He's improving. He was a rookie.
Alright. In my top 20 now, at number 20, I got Teddy Bridgewater. I feel like he's gonna do good. I feel like he's gonna do really good. I mean, he played 5 games, he averaged 14 fantasy points. That's not great. But I mean, he won all of them against tough teams. He played the Rams, he played the Seahawks, he played the Cowboys, he played the Bucks. Those are some tough teams, and he beat them all. Yes, he had a lot of players around him, but I feel like he has a lot of players around him in Carolina too. He has DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel. Okay, he can pass it to Christian McCaffrey out the backfield, and get him a lot of yards.
That is true.
Touchdowns too. DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, Christian McCaffrey. I feel like he's gonna fit in great with that offense. I feel like he's gonna have a top 20 year. Draft him for your bench because
I don't think he's gonna have that great of a year.
You do you.
You do you.
Yeah. At least my guys are reasonable. Anyway, who do you got 20?
Number
19.
19. Yep.
19.
I have Jared Goff.
I also have Jared Goff at 19.
I feel like he has great targets around him, obviously.
Oh, he does.
Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods.
At the same point, he lost Todd Gurley.
He did lose Todd Gurley. That's a big part of his game.
If he's having a bad game, he can't turn it to Todd Gurley anymore.
Yeah.
Like CJ Henderson, who hasn't improved himself. So, I mean, he has weapons. Okay, they lost Brandon Cooks.
They did.
Which does not help him at all. He had that one good year.
He did.
But
then he just went down.
Yeah,
he was third for passing yards last year, but he did throw almost 2 picks a game.
Yeah. Jared Goff, we both have him at number 19. If you don't draft him as your starter, we don't trust him, but
he could do good.
He
had that one good year. Then he went down, could go back up again.
He could come back.
Alright, who you got at number 18?
Number 18, I got this guy. I feel like he was hard to rank for me, but I got Ryan Tannehill.
Okay, I have him higher on the list.
Ryan Tannehill, I feel like Derrick Henry carried them to a bunch of their wins, which he did.
Yeah, but Tannehill also did really good.
Which is why I have him in my top 20. I mean, he averaged 18 fantasy points a game. That's pretty good numbers if you can have 18. At the end of the year, he had 27 points, 24 points, 23 points. That's pretty good. I mean,
I think he's gonna have those end of the year stats going into the whole season.
That's why he had 22 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions.
How many games did he start?
I'm not sure. But I mean, they have a tough schedule this year. So
that's true.
They have to prove themselves. But yeah, he got the weapon. He can give it to Derrick Henry. He has AJ Brown. I feel like they're gonna do good. I feel like AJ Brown's gonna pop off.
Yes.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
This guy.
18.
This guy's a weird guy. All right. I have Cam Newton, number 18.
I have Cam Newton at 18. So. No,
Cam Newton. I have Cam Newton 18. You can't really predict him yet.
It's hard to predict.
He only has Julian Edelman,
The reason why I have him in top 20 is because he's got Bill Belichick as coach.
Yes, that's
Bill Belichick is going
he can make anyone
him a
good.
quarterback. He's going to make him a good quarterback. I mean, you look at his stats in 2015, he averaged 24 fantasy points a game.
Yes, he's a good quarterback.
Insane. In 2018, only 2 years ago, he was averaging 20 fantasy points a game. He threw for 24 touchdowns and only 13 picks. In 2015, he threw for 35 touchdowns, 10 picks. He played 2 games last year, he scored 5 fantasy points, and he scored 11 fantasy points. That's not great.
In 2 games, he threw for 250 each.
Yeah.
No more than that. He also did throw 5 picks.
He threw 5 picks. But I feel like he's gonna have a good year.
Yeah, not great. Bench him probably. He could hop off.
Probably bench him. I mean, yeah. You got Tony Michel, you've got Julian Edelman, N'Keal Harry, Mohamed Sanu.
Yeah.
Top of the line's not great. He's got a good kicker.
Alright.
You got number 18. I know 17.
Number 17, I have Baker Mayfield. Alright. He was number 19 in fantasy points last year, threw 22 touchdowns, almost 4,000 yards. He's got all the weapons. I think he's going to put it together this year. Not do great, obviously, only 18, but still do a lot better than last year.
Interesting.
I feel like they're going to put it together. Odell,